Welcome to the Culinary Treasure Podcast. I'm Steven Shomler, your host. Today finds me, well, I'm kind of speechless. I'm looking out over some beautiful turquoise water, palm trees. I'm at Cayo Espanto, a private island off the coast of Belize. You fly into Belize City, depending on where you're coming from. Then you can take a flight over to San Pedro. And then you take a boat ride, a short boat ride out to here. It's absolutely incredible. The entire travel experience at Cayo Espanto is mind-blowing. One of the highlight's not the right word, probably for me, probably the most compelling element of my stay here has been the incredible meals and the food that I've been enjoying. It is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so lucky and so blessed. Special guest today is Cayo Espanto's executive chef, Patrick Houghton. Did I get that right?
You got it right. Thank you.
It's such a delight to have you on the podcast. I've just been enchanted by your food, what you put together. I'm so glad that we've been here a couple days enjoying your food, and then I get to interview you because I think I have a sense of what matters to you and how you put things together, and it's absolutely delightful. So, questions I ask everyone in all my podcasts, where were you born?
I was born in San Jose, California.
And where'd you go to high school?
Went to high school in Morgan Hill, California at Live Oak High.
What's the mascot there?
Acorns. Go nuts.
The acorns. Do they say "go nuts" in the stands?
They do. They say "go nuts." It's really intimidating. We're just like this overgrown acorn. Yeah.
That is hilarious. So Morgan Hill is near and dear to my heart. When I was roughly 10 and 11 years old, 2 different summers, my aunt and uncle brought me out. They lived in Morgan Hill. He was an executive IBM. And I saw anything I've never had in my life. Every morning for breakfast, he'd have fresh squeezed orange juice. And then a homemade piece of chocolate cake, like 2-layer chocolate cake. Why he did that, I have no idea. Dinner every night was either quail or rabbit, a glass of wine, a bottle of wine with dinner. Always end the dinner with a cheese course and more wine. They took me to your plays at Shakespeare. I think I needed some culture. I'd never seen plays before. I'd never had that food. And with all of that, I probably remember the highlight was getting to being dropped off and walk down to the little theater in the summer and see a movie by myself. I thought that was amazing. So tell me about your earliest cook. You had a really special cooking experience when you were pretty young.
Oh, yeah. When I was young, well, I've always wanted to be a chef. So, of course, watching my mom and, grandma and everybody else cooking. So I think one time when my mom was homesick one day, I think I was about 6 or 7, I decided I'd make her breakfast in bed. So, took all the dining room chairs and stacked them all around the kitchen so I could get to everything. I proceeded to make some form of a pancake and all the different things I'd ever seen my mom make, and brought her breakfast in bed, which she still reminds me to this day was completely inedible. And the mess that I left behind was just something out of the... she won't let me live that one down.
But you loved cooking. So 15 years old, you start working basically for your paycheck, working professionally, getting paid. A lot of people don't realize when you're paid, you're doing it professionally. And you started out working where?
I started out at a little bakery called Morgan Hill Bakery, and so that was downtown. So, yeah, I started in the back there. A friend of mine set me up with it. So, I learned to bake breads, all kinds. And then, we have all of our Spanish things, the conchas and the elotes. And so, learned a lot about different breads and stuff like that. And then in the afternoons, I would actually sell the breads as well. So, kind of got a little front and back of the house on that one.
And you prefer back of house, right?
I definitely prefer back of house. Yeah.
And then where you went then somewhere else, and you got to start out in a very special place that many of the greatest chefs I've ever known have started working.
Yeah. So after a year or so in the bakery, I was always just wanting to get on that line. So I talked to a couple of people. They set me up with a restaurant. So I went and worked at a place called Mezzaluna, which was also in Morgan Hill. So started working there with, aspirations that I'm going to be a chef there. And started in the dish pit, started down there. So washing dishes for 6 months or so, moved up to cold line. So I'm on my way. 6 months, I'll be on the hot line. I'll be all excited. And then the owner had a little twist for me that, oh no, now you're going to go be a busboy, and then you're going to be a waiter, and then you're going to, manage the front house, and then I will put you in the back with the chef. So, yeah, they just put me around the whole spot before I got to where I wanted to be. So.
And I think that that's the place I was alluding to is the dish pit is where some of the great chefs I've ever met, they started in the dish pit. I think you learn a tremendous amount. I've done, before I do what I do now, I spent 10 plus years in the nonprofit world and 10 plus years in the banking world. And my banking job, my first banking job was the Puget Sound Bank, largest independent bank around here. And then shortly thereafter, we got bought out. I've been there a year and got bought out. But I guess I was there 2 years before we got bought out. But my first year of employment was training, and I got to work all of the jobs that would impact my job, and it made me a much better, when I finally got to just sit at my desk in my office and do my job. And I suspect that time for you, in the dish pit, the time being a waiter, to this day informs what you do.
Oh, it rounds you out. You definitely have a respect for what everybody does. Dish pit works just as hard, if not harder than the chef. Waiters, they have their whole own world of what goes wrong in their day. So I mean, yeah, everybody contributes to making it happen. So.
And then by the end of your time at Mezzaluna, you were a chef. You were cooking. You were working the line.
Oh yeah, full on. 200 covers a night, running the line. Yeah.
So you did something interesting that a lot of people that find themselves in your situation. Hey, I'm a chef. I'm getting paid. I'm running the line. Everything's great. You chose then. You've been working now for pay professionally for about 6 years. You chose to go to culinary school. Why that choice?
It was always kind of on the radar. I wanted to go to culinary school, make sure that I was, something that somebody would want to buy into, that would want me to work for them. But I figured I'd better have experience and kind of be rounded and already have a background. So when I went to culinary school, I kind of knew what questions to ask, and I knew kind of how to get involved and kind of, polish it off rather than going for the background information. It actually worked out. The background information was really good, but I mean, it just kind of polished me off, and that's why I decided to go to culinary school.
I have great respect for chefs that have not been to culinary school. I covered a culinary school. It's one of the chapters in my first book, and I wrote about Portland food carts in my first book. And the people would ask me, "I'm going to start a food cart. Go to culinary school." And I finally decided, yes, you should. You can be a professional chef, but I think just that education, that investment, that experience, and then the little things I didn't know until I actually interviewed the two amazing chefs that started the culinary school that I have in my book. Is they told me this whole exercise they did, and I've since learned it's an exercise in various ways at all kinds of culinary schools where you buy the fruit, you cut up the fruit salad, you price out, and you discover, oh, I have to sell the fruit salad for this much to cover my costs. And that business side, I don't think people that haven't been to culinary school realize what an important part that is of your journey.
Oh yeah, food cost is everything. So you're not going to make it unless you can get that bottom line. So.
Yeah, it's not just how to cook. How to cooking is amazing, but you also have to manage your costs.
That's correct.
You had a pretty interesting experience as far as learning how to manage costs involving a survey when you were in culinary school.
Oh, yeah. When you're in culinary school, you have to get with a group of other peers and you have to create a restaurant. So that's one of our big projects, about 3/4 of the way through school. So from buying the tables, the chairs, to renting the building, all on paperwork, making your menus, food costing all your menus. And so you end up with a menu, you might have some low-cost leaders. You might have things that are really making you money. You might have things that are just slightly making you money. And so at the end of the course, you need to go out and take your menu and survey just, general public and see what they choose on your menu. So if I came up and said you have $25 to spend, what would you choose on the menu? And that kind of make or breaks your project. I mean, if they've all chosen things where you're only making $1 and they're really, they're avoiding the things where you're making $6 or $8 up per item, your business is going to fail. So, I mean, that's kind of like the final touch of it. So a lot of kids go out, they do 20, 30 surveys because it's not really nice to run around San Francisco and try and make people take surveys. They're
because they got people asking them to vote for this and check on this and check on that. And then your people in San Francisco are busy. They don't want you to, it's almost kind of like New York in that way. Leave me alone. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, people kind of stick to their own. So our theory on that was that, me and my troupe, we tried it the regular way. It didn't work out so well. So we just went down to the bar, had a few, came up with the idea that we'll just go down to one of the shadier neighborhoods because most of the people down there didn't have much to do. And so we were just interviewing, women working in strip clubs, and we were getting on the bus and riding with people because they have nothing to do on a bus but to sit there and mess with us. So we actually ended up, about 150, 160 surveys filled out, and it worked out quite in our favor because you actually got a really nice rounding on what everybody was choosing. And one of the good ones was our minestrone soup. We were making millions on that one. That was going to be our super one there.
The secret to success of the restaurant you're putting together for your project.
Correct. Yeah, it was the big joke of the whole thing was the minestrone soup. It was just something we threw in there somewhere towards the end of the project that we were going to have a minestrone soup on the menu with zero food cost. And so when you present this project, you're sitting there in front of the whole school, 150 people, your peers, all the executive chefs, all the chefs from the whole school. And everybody's got your project in front of them. They're just trying to pick you apart. Every little detail, they're trying to pick you apart. So one of the big ones was our minestrone soup. It has zero food costs. So, we're just waiting for somebody in the crowd to call it out, and they did, because they want to crush your project too. So they,
So you're up on stage.
yeah,
There's some everyone in the audience can ask questions about your project, but you're feeding your minestrone soup to the staff, to the chefs that are training you, right?
yeah. Like I said, this was our little kind of gimme to the whole project that made people kind of forget about some of the other parts of our project we didn't do so well on. But everybody's eating this minestrone soup. We're waiting for him to call us out. The kid calls us out. Oh, your minestrone soup has no food cost. I got you. This is, I've just destroyed your project. And like I said, they're all sitting there eating this minestrone soup. So it was a whole big thing. And then the big joke was me getting up on my part and telling them, well, you guys all remember me walking around in your classrooms last week. Well, I was picking out your garbage. I was taking out the whole school's garbage. And what I was doing is going up, bringing it back to my apartment. We were dumping it out on the floor, and we're picking out, half pieces of carrots, half pieces of this, rinsing it off, washing it off. And we pulled a whole pot of minestrone soup that they all had to eat while we were giving our presentation out of the trash of the school. So
I suspect they had a special meeting about you right after.
Oh yeah, I was real popular with my bullseye on. They had a whole chef meeting. It was you're trying to teach these kids, food costs and not waste, and you're trying to teach them all these things. And in the same atmosphere where we're being taught how to be a chef, you've got so much food waste going on. So yeah, they had a huge meeting about that, and it strictened everything up for the rest of our ride too. I mean, you were not gonna. They were looking at anything you might be throwing away. So
because they're afraid. They're afraid Patrick's gonna make
there's
another
that
dish.
Kid. There's that kid.
So how many students started in your class?
In our particular class, we started out with about 30 students. Some young kids, some older kids, just some older people that were trying to finish them. Little.
And how many graduated roughly? About 30. About how many graduated?
Maybe about 17 of us graduated.
And I suspect, I've never been to culinary school. I've often thought I might want to go to kind of write about it and have the experience. I just wonder, could I actually make it through? I don't know. But is that some of the people there, it's kind of like, it's a hobby or someone else is paying for it, just something to do. And other people, it is their career, it is their passion. Am I right about that demarcation?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We had the kids it was kind of like last resort, last choice. Their parents just threw them in there, and here you're going to be a cook, and you're going to come out of here and go get a job at the Denny's or wherever, And then there was guys, there was a couple of guys that were older, and they just kind of, that was just like the finishing off move of their career. They've always wanted to go to culinary school. But then there was 3 or 4 of us we were there to be chefs. I mean, we just wanted to get in there, eat it up, and get out and just start cranking out food.
And I suspect that you asked them a lot of questions.
Oh yeah. I was always had questions to ask. That was like I said, that's why I started in the industry already. So I could just kind of get as much information out of these chefs, they've all got 20 plus years. You have a specialized chef for Asian, you have a specialized chef for French. And if you really know how to pick their brains and ask questions, you get a lot more out of them, and you push them. You get a lot of more stuff they weren't doing, not their day-to-day teaching curriculum. They would go out of their way.
Yep. And then, I hear tell that sometimes at culinary school, the teachers, the chefs that are teachers, they'll have like a barbecue, and they'll have some of the students come cook for them.
Yeah. That was pretty much, if there was a couple of us that were already in the industry, so we already kind of knew what kitchens were like, what chefs were like. So me and another buddy, we were usually the ones chosen to, the chefs are having a barbecue or they're having a get together. We need somebody to come cook for it. So it would always be me and my other buddy. We'd be signed up for that because we pretty much already knew what was going to happen around these folks. So
yeah, it's I never reveal these places, but if I go to a various city and I can find out where the chef's bar is, and you get there at the right time of night, there's a chef's bar in Bozeman, Montana. I've been blessed to go to Bozeman other than COVID many years, the past 4 or 5 for the past 6 years, and I know now where the chef's bar is. I won't say where it is. I keep my secrets, but you get a different experience when you're at a place like a chef's bar after service.
Guaranteed to be fun.
What was the name of your culinary school?
I went to California Culinary Academy in San Francisco.
Okay. So something interesting. I'm not into exact dates in my podcast. Close is good enough for me. So roughly 2003, you started working here at Cayo Espanto, and roughly 2003, you graduated from culinary school. So how the heck did that come to be?
Cayo Espanto actually brought me down on my internship. So when you finish the written and the part of your culinary school, you need to go do a 3-month externship to complete your studies so you can get signed off and graduate.
And you didn't pick a place. You were kind of hesitating. So you had students that were going to all kinds of special places, right?
Yeah, a lot of the students, this is their big thing. So they, 6 months out, they're already planning their trips to Rome, or they're going to Italy, or they're going to Greece. You got ones working at Aqua. They've been trying to get these internships, and they've been pushing for 6 months. I just didn't ever. I was focused on what I was doing with the culinary school, and everything about San Francisco as well. I mean, it's a really neat cooking city. I mean, just a lot of stuff going on. So I wasn't really too concerned. I figured that anybody would take me. I mean, it's 3 months to work for free, so. My big joke was I'll just go down to McDonald's and work for 3 months and get get that ticked off my list. The papers are signed. I'm graduated. Now I can actually start on my culinary journey, So yeah, I was never too concerned about where I was going.
Okay, so you're 2 weeks out before you're done and ready to leave somewhere. You're still not headed anywhere. And what did the chefs brought you in and had a meeting?
Yeah, about a week before everybody was supposed to be heading out on their things, the executive chefs of the school brought me in, kind of disturbed by me, that why have I not chosen a place? And I told them that I wasn't really too concerned. And so they put two things on the table. They put a picture of the Eiffel Tower. They put a picture of Cayo Espanto. They said you can go to the second floor of the Eiffel Tower, or you can go here to Cayo Espanto. So because I had already proven myself that I was, I can work in a kitchen. I can go straight into a kitchen and be of use. So I just picked one out of the two. I thought I was going to somewhere in Africa, so I really had no idea where Belize was.
And so you picked the private island. Not sure where Belize is, but okay, it looked pretty, and you're going to go there.
That was the idea. Put on a backpack, and a week later, flew out.
So you flew into Belize City. Then you caught a short plane ride into San Pedro. And then, someone has to meet you because it's a boat right here.
Oh yeah, well, I was meted by the executive chef. He went to the airport, picked me up. Had our meet and greet and our big little conversation there on the boat ride. Our big 7-minute boat ride over. And by that night, I was already in the kitchen. He gave me enough time to put down my bag. That was about it.
Put down your bag, put on your gear, and let's go. Open up your knife bag. And then 3 months was your internship here. And then what happened?
Yeah, so did 3 months here. Was going to take a little quick journey back to the States, and then I had another gig lined up in Mexico. I went home, got my stuff together there, got a phone call by Jeff Graham, the owner, and he pretty much just told me, no, you need to come back. This kitchen's yours. I want you to come down and run this for now, and we'll see if we're going to get an executive chef. We'll see what we're going to do, but I really like how you work, so I really want you here. So he brought me back down. I came back in. About 2 months after that, that was it. The kitchen was mine. Here's your kitchen. I sat there for a year or two waiting for an executive chef to come walking through the door, and that didn't.
And eventually, I guess I'm it.
Well, no, we had a couple chefs come down. They would come down. We had some neat chefs come down. There was a guy who used to cook for a famous rapper, and we had some neat chefs come down for the position. And within a month or two, they were just, I can't do I can't do what you're doing, so I don't know why I'm here, and they would leave. So, I got left with that. We decided to stop hiring people from outside, and we just start training locals. So, we've had quite a large local force come through, train, learn. They're running some of the restaurants here in San Pedro, Cayo, different parts of Belize. So we've trained a lot of locals that've gone on and done great stuff for themselves, and then we still maintain at this point. We have a staff of 6. Everybody in there except for myself, they're all local. So.
And there's 8 villas here. And a couple of the villas are like 2-bedroom, so 4 guests maybe. The 1-bedroom villas are 2 guests, so that's the size of the group that you're cooking for. But what exists today, the incredible culinary exists today, was in place when you first started. That first during your internship, they had a different program going on. Yeah,
we definitely had a different program going. Like I said, there's Australian, a couple of Americans, and we had a couple of locals just for help. But we were running. It was kind of everybody just had their own dish. So we'd maybe have a soup. I would do one main course. The other chef would do one main course, and then the other one would do a dessert. So it was just and it would be, wasn't what it was today. I mean, the products in Belize weren't what they are today. But at the same sense, we weren't really asserting ourselves quite what we should have been doing. So, like I said, once I came back and kind of took the reins of it, we went to a 4-course. We're doing a soup, 3 different choices for entree and dessert, and then that changes by your survey, changes by the day, changes by what we can get. So it's generally every morning you get in, and it's just completely random of where are we going for today. So
yeah, because it's a tremendous amount. I can see on the menu, I can taste it on the plate of local ingredients. You're sourcing from all over Belize.
Yeah, we're pretty much only allowed to source from Belize. Belize is pretty closed bordered, so all the products, all the fruits, all the vegetables, seafood, everything has to come from here. About the only thing we're allowed to import is beef, just because our beef is.
There's not as much.
It's just the quality of it. You'd be chewing on it for a while. So that's about the only thing that we're allowed to import. I mean, our pork is beautiful, hands down, probably some of the best pork in the world. I mean, we really, our seafood, amazing. I mean, we've got lobster floating around here next to us, snook, grouper, all the different seafoods. I mean, it's right here, so
Yes,
there's no need.
Snook is an amazing local fish.
Yeah, it's kind of random when we get that. You have to have these different breezes and storms, but usually around November, December, those things will start coming in, and it's a brackish water fish, so it's really mild, white flesh fish. A lot of people do it for sport fishing, but it's great fish.
So to give people a little bit of sense of the culinary experience, in the morning, you set your time the night before, and your houseman, in my case, it's Jesus and Jose, who are just wonderful, wonderful young men. They come around and the coffee and the fresh fruit that goes with the coffee. I've had papaya, cantaloupe, watermelon. It has been just pineapple. It has been incredible. And you get your coffee, and then you pick from your breakfast menu. And what did I have this morning? The huevos rancheros. Oh, just phenomenal. And I want to know who made that hollandaise sauce 2 days ago. That hollandaise sauce was off the chart. I'm picky about hollandaise sauce. There is a chef in Portland. She has a food cart. She makes some of the best hollandaise sauce I've ever had. And it's rare that something comes up to Chef Sarah's standards, and your hollandaise sauce the day before yesterday, for me, it did. It was impressive.
Good to hear.
And then a little bit after breakfast, they come around again, and you pick out from your lunch menu, and you get lunch. And one of the things, I guess I do have some complaints. I just thought of one. You give us dessert with lunch, which I want and I don't want, but what fun! It's so much fun, and always something interesting and different. So pick out your lunch. And then so far, my state chef Richard comes by roughly between 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and he has a menu every day. It's been different, like you said, an appetizer. We choose from a couple different entrees. We have a soup, appetizer, soup, entrees, an incredible dessert, and you pick from one of your entrees. But before we got here, we filled out a survey of different things we want for food and different spirits we like, and that actually does shape the menu of what you eat here.
Yeah, every guest fills out their own survey before they get here, so we have a chance to kind of figure out where we're going, what direction. Like your personal one, you wanted to eat local. You didn't have any dietary needs, anything like that. So
Yep.
you've been having more of the lime bisques and the black bean soups and trios of ceviches, and so we've been sticking. Now other guests have been having completely different things. We've got some people having like more Italianese, so they're having the capreses and the stuff like that. So yeah, every villa is specific to you, menus created. So. Like I said, we just base it on what we can get, what we can't get, what came in fresh today, what came in, what do we think is going to come in tomorrow. So everything's just based around that. So every morning we get together, we try and figure out which direction we're going for the day. Look at the surveys, try and make sure we're hitting everybody's surveys, make sure we're doing what we're doing, and we move along for the day. So every day is different for pretty much every guest, and we try not to give you something twice or anything like that. So
I do love me gin. So Thursday nights at home, that's a martini night. Have a gin martini and we'll relax. And my wife cooks in the kitchen. I chat with her. We put on Frank Sinatra, have a gin martini, 3 olives. And then Sunday morning, that's when I have gin and orange juice. I just love gin and orange juice. And I tell you, it feels wrong to put gin in the orange juice I get every morning. That is fresh squeezed orange juice. It's like nothing I've ever had.
Yeah, you wouldn't like the look of the oranges. That's one of the things. A lot of our products, maybe not the highlight of look. I mean, you would never go to the grocery store and pick out that orange. They're the oddest green, strange looking oranges. But I mean, the flavor, the juice. Yeah, we have some amazing products in Belize. So
yeah, so I do plan to come back. And next time I come, one of the things I'm going to put in my survey is whatever Chef Patrick wants to feed me. I'll let you pick the menu. Whatever's coming in that day, it's interesting. I'll just let you pick on. I'm going to put on my survey whatever he says. And here's a tip for people: if you are ever at a restaurant and you ask the chef, what do you think? And they make a recommendation, go with it. Just go with it. If they suggest something that you're like, oh, I don't know if I've had that before, go with it. I've had so many things I've never had before that I wasn't sure, but okay, went with it. And I'm so glad I did, because here's an amazing thing. Chefs know food. I'm sure you've had those experiences where you ask them for a recommendation and they don't follow it. And you're kind of like, well, then why did you ask me?
Well, I always like recommendations, because half the time, if it's something, I mean, when the guests fill out their survey, we're always, like I said, we're always trying to create and do stuff some of what our ideas are, and we interact with what the guests' ideas are. So, the surveys help us out sometimes. Help us out with it. I understand we're having chicken pot pie one of these nights, which is really great because that's on your survey, and that's got to be one of my favorite things. So,
Are you serious?
me and you are both going to be having chicken pot pie that day because if I'm making it for yourself, I'm definitely making one for myself. So,
Now, for those that are wondering, chicken pot pie. Live in the Pacific Northwest. It's often cold and rainy. I love cold and rainy. And to me, there's no better comfort food than chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie and a glass of red wine. I mean, it's wonderful comfort food. And I forgot we put that on the survey.
oh, it's coming.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to it. As soon as I saw it on there, I knew already. Oh, we're having chicken pot pie one of these nights. So,
I'm afraid you're going to ruin me for other chicken pot pie the rest of my life. Your stuff is too good. I don't even know how I'm going to survive after this. I'll just, okay, this is the last chicken pot pie I ever have.
location helps.
Oh my goodness. So you have about 5 chefs at any one time over there cooking.
Correct.
And then I suspect you rotate, everybody gets a day off and those kind of things. Because this place doesn't close, really. I mean, does it?
Oh, no, we're 365, yeah.
Wow. But you got to have days off. So you could probably rotate
Yeah,
days
Belize is on a 6-day work week, lucky me. So everybody's in 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So your commute must be interesting. So you have the ability to stay here. The situation mitigates, and then you have a home over in the San Pedro area. But when you go home at night or come in the morning, you're taking a boat ride. What's that commute like?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I have a place here on the island. Depending if we're busy, I can stay here, or I also have my apartment on San Pedro. It's great. Big 7-minute commute by boat. You have your nice little golf cart ride because we all drive golf carts. So you get up in the morning, you get on your golf cart, and because we're such a small community, I mean, everybody knows everybody. So every morning when you're driving to work, you feel like the mayor of San Pedro. Everybody's waving and saying good morning, and your same characters at the same coffee spot every morning, and you all know their name. You know what they drink. I mean, it's we're a pretty small community, so it's really neat. Like I said, you just feel like the king every morning when you get up in the morning. You just hailing all. You could have the worst morning; it wouldn't matter. Once you get there and you start traveling on your big commute, everybody's smiling and waving, and and then you get on your little 7-minute boat ride. Can't beat that. Beautiful sun coming up, and you're on the water. It's great.
And I bet you've had some interesting weather.
Oh yeah, even the ride in the rain is still. I mean, it's still wonderful. I mean, you're sitting there with all your rain jacket, and this isn't normal rain. I mean, this isn't like rain I had ever experienced before. There's very few rain jackets that keep this rain off you, but you're bundled up. You've got all your rain gear on, and you're just getting pelted with rain, but I mean, you still got a smile on your face. It's just still absolutely beautiful.
Well, and it's still 80 degrees. It's not like, rain at 80 is different than rain at 40. I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's warm rain. It's just, I don't know. It just, every time something like that happens, I mean, it might upset somebody. I just get a big smile on my face like, wow, this is the day, it's great.
Now, we've both here, last night here, and some of the other places we've been here, Belize, this trip, have had intense rain at night. And it's been perfect. I get to enjoy it. I hear it. It doesn't mess up my day. But if I woke up this morning and it was hard rain, I would just sit here under the roof and enjoy my book and have a wonderful time. But the wind and the rain, I thought it was fantastic. I love the sound of the wind blowing through. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, these villas are really nice for that. They give you that nice breeze, everything. Yeah.
So it is. Jose and Jesus are so incredibly sincere. It's almost obnoxious. They're sincere. They're kind. They treat you well. Have you ever, now your parents have been supportive of your culinary journey for a long time. What do they think about where you're at now?
Oh, they love it. I mean, they wish I was home. I mean, they wish I was a little bit closer, but the beauty of coming down here and you have a couple of kids, well, then they get to come on vacation and come see the grandkids. So,
and have they stayed out here at Cayo Espanto?
Yeah, they've stayed out here. They like it. They're used to doing things on their own, waking up and opening their own doors and getting themselves their own breakfast and things. So, I mean, somebody waiting on them hand and foot, they're
it can be a little awkward, particularly like me. I love serving people and helping people. I want to contribute. And it's like, I can tell if I dare touch anything, poor, Jesus is going to jump out of his skin. And I'm trying, okay, I will obey you. I'll do what you need to do. So you must have the rolls. These rolls, I think, are evil because, I only need one and I end up eating two, and you must have a baker on staff.
Yeah, we do. She's a local gal. We trained her. She does all of our baking. I mean, from our gluten-free bread to our dinner rolls to absolutely anything. Our cookies, everything was made in-house. So
Wow, hats off. And I've seen. I need a chocolate chip cookie like a hole in the head, but I've seen them on the menu. It's like I'm just gonna have to order one probably tomorrow just so that I can take a picture of it and say that I had it. Because I suspect, like the chicken pot pie, a chocolate chip cookie here will ruin me for future chocolate chip cookies. So there's 3 cookies? There's a chocolate chip, an oatmeal and a peanut butter, I think. I'm going from memory. But
And a chocolate one. Yeah, we got a bunch.
was there one you recommend that I should get for my
Chocolate
picture?
chip, hands down.
Okay.
Chocolate.
All right. And then I might have to get a glass of milk just because,
We got that.
Yeah. Oh, and the dessert. I can't remember what I had for dessert last night, but it was a I'm gonna look on my phone.
I could tell you. It was a flourless chocolate cake with some chocolate mousse and I believe some coffee ice cream.
Yes, and I got some frangelico to go with that, with the coffee ice cream and the flour, and then there was this little cookie underneath the ice cream. Oh, wow! It is an incredible culinary experience. So if someone is listening to this podcast and they decide that they're going to go to culinary school and they want their internship, if people ever intern here now?
Yeah, we have done quite a few interns. Recently, we've been doing a lot we've done some from the local schools, but we used to do the ones also from California Culinary Academy as well.
Wow. Well, I got people listen, all over the world listen to this podcast. I don't know why, big in Scandinavian countries. I don't know why, but you probably wouldn't be opposed to a Scandinavian chef come over and interning, right?
No opposition, not at all.
Well, Chef Patrick, it's been a delight. I wish we were filming and they could see the joy in your face when you talk about cooking. You absolutely love cooking, don't you?
Absolutely.
And you're fulfilled.
Definitely.
One of my things that's about deep value of mine is that people need to live fulfilling lives. Henry David Thoreau talks about, I'm paraphrasing, people living lives of quiet desperation. And I tell people, go live the life you imagine. Life is too short and too precious not to live a life where you're fulfilled in your personal life, fulfilled in your professional life. And I think you perfectly exemplify that. I can just see it, the joy in your face and the way your eyes sparkle when you talk about cooking. And then, and you have a staff that you love as well. Am I right?
Oh yeah, this is a dream job. I mean, I can look out my window of the kitchen and I'm staring at the sea. Great group of people that have been with me for a long time. I mean, just great staff all around. It's a great place to be.
Excellent. Well, it's been a joy to have you on the podcast. I wish you all the success in the world. And then when we're done recording, I'll ask you where the chef's bar is in San Pedro if I come back next time. So, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.